Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Fair with Mr. Nice Guy, a podcast where we strip away the mask, challenge the old rules, talk about what it really means to be a man today. And I'm your host, MNG, and today we're diving deep into something that's been long misunderstood, oversimplified, and rarely talked about with honesty. What's really going on inside of a modern man? Now, let's be real. Being a man today is complicated. We grew up in a world where we were told to be a man, you had to man up and you don't cry. You could not shed a tear. And even in the times when you did shed a tear, you was looking at a whooping. Now, and you had to handle your own. You know, you had to be about your business. You had to step up. You had to shoulder it all, bear it all with no excuses. You couldn't have an excuse. Everything you did with purpose and no excuse, regardless of the case. You bear the burden of everything on your back. Now, at the same time, the world now expects us to be emotionally intelligent, open, and empathetic. So where does that leave us? Somewhere between strength and sensitivity. Between wanting to protect and wanting to be seen. Between being told we're too cold and then too emotional. And in that tug of war, some men end up feeling lost. Like we're supposed to have all the answers, but we're not even sure what the questions are anymore. The truth is, most men don't want to be stoic robots. We want connection. We want purpose. We want to be valued, not just for what we provide, but for who we are. And when we look at relationships and how that applies, we're only looking at for what we bring to the table as everyday men, but is not looked at with the emotional undertone. How we are feeling. Are we happy in this relationship? What can you do to make me feel valued in this relationship and actually a prime contributor outside of finances and providing this particular lifestyle and this safety that they want and accept? Now, inside the modern man, there is often this quiet storm. And I've been there. It's definitely stirring. We're thinking about career pressure, financial expectations, relationships, this unspoken fear of not measuring up. We might not say it, but we feel it. The competition, the comparison, the question of, am I enough? How many times have that phrase, that question has rang in your ear from time to time? Am I enough? Will I be enough? Am I enough for this woman to not go out and cheat on me? Am I enough for this woman to take me seriously in dating? Am I enough to be able to approach this woman and get her number? Social media only amplifies it. Seeing other men with success, status, and the perfect life online can only make anyone feel left behind. But what we rarely see is the struggle behind those pictures, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the feeling of failure. And here's the wild part. A lot of men don't even have the space to talk about it. Because vulnerability, even now, can still feel like weakness. So inside, we internalize it, we joke it off, and we distract ourselves with work, gym, and silence. Just imagine if you, just like when I get to Pop the Balloons, or if you watch the Pop the Balloon show and you see how some of these men come on to the stage, well-dressed, careers, and everything. And these women still pop on them, whether it's height, whether it's size, whether it's their career, whether it's any of those things. They still pop on them because they're basically saying, you don't have all the things that I'm checking off on my boxes. And even if you do have all the things, the way you responded to that lady down there is the reason why I pop my balloon on you. And when you go on these shows, the question is that, am I going to be enough for these 10 to 15 women, 5 to 15 women that's going to be standing up here? Am I going to be enough? Am I going to be satisfactory? Am I bringing enough to the table? And if I do get one, is this going to be such a suitor because you only really get to know a person within like 15 minutes of being on the show and probably 2 to 3 minutes per each person for the conversation before you moving on with somebody else. So it's really just a gamble, and you're really just talking to somebody based on attraction alone. Yeah, you can gauge them by the answers, but come on. Not anybody could perfect the interview, because that's all we really doing. But here's the shift happening. Slowly but powerfully, men are starting to realize that strength isn't about how much you can suppress. It's about how much you can express. It's about knowing when to be tough and when to be truthful, when to push forward and when to pause. The modern man isn't one thing. He's layered, like an onion, like in Shrek, an onion. He could be ambitious and gentle, confident and uncertain. He could build an empire and still ask for help. And that's what growth looks like. That's what manhood should look like. Not perfection, but presence. So what's next for man? Let's start looking forward. I think it's about redefining what it means to be enough. Not about outdated roles and social checklists, but by authenticity. Ask yourself, what parts of me have I silenced to fit in? I'm gonna say that one more time. What parts of me have I silenced to fit in? What emotions have I buried because I thought I wasn't supposed to feel them? And what would I be if I gave myself permission to just be? No performance, no armor, no filter. That's the conversation that changes everything. That's where healing starts, because modern man isn't dying, he's evolving. You can see it in today's time where men are choosing themselves. They're choosing peace over being in a relationship with the wrong person. He's learning to lead with honesty, to love with intention, and live with balance. And maybe that's the real power, but maybe that's the real power, not in being visible, but in being real. So when we put all that stuff together and we focus on ourselves, we redefine what it is to be enough, we walk into the path of authenticity, we determine and find our true selves and realize that maybe peace, maybe strength does not have to come in silence, but it can come with developing oneself and being with oneself. Thank you for tuning in to Pharaoh Mr. Nice Guy. If today's episode hit home, share it with someone that needs to hear it, or drop a comment and tell me what you think, what's been on your mind lately. We're building a space for men to be seen, heard, and understood, one conversation at a time. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and remember, being a good man isn't about being perfect. It's about being present.